The rain poured in steady sheets over the city, washing the streets with reflections of neon light and broken dreams. Under the cracked awning of an old bus stop, a man sat with a little girl asleep in his lap. His name was Ethan Cole, once an engineer, now a homeless father trying to make it through another night. The girl's name was Lily, his 5-year-old daughter, her fingers wrapped around a worn-out stuffed rabbit that had lost its color but not its comfort. Ethan stared out at the cars splashing through puddles, thinking about the life he'd lost. 2 years ago, he had a job at a luxury watch company and a small house with his wife, Marissa. But when she was diagnosed with leukemia, every dollar he earned went toward treatment. When she died, so did everything that made sense. The debt consumed him, and the eviction notice followed soon after. Now, his hands, the same hands that once built precision timepieces, fixed toys for children in shelters just to see them smile. At dawn, he woke Lily with a soft shake. "Hey, sunshine. Shelter's closing soon. We've got to move." She blinked her sleepy eyes and whispered, "Daddy, is Mommy still watching us?" He forced a smile. "Always. She never stops." They gathered their few belongings, one backpack, 2 sandwiches wrapped in foil, and a cardboard sign that read, "We'll fix anything for food." By mid-morning, they stood downtown, invisible to the crowd rushing by. No one saw the man and his daughter holding onto each other against the cold. But someone did stop. A young woman stood in front of the Cartier boutique, her phone pressed to her ear. Her voice was sharp, commanding. "Jonathan, I don't care what the board says. My father's company will not merge with anyone. Hart Enterprises stands on its own." Her name was Isabella Hart, CEO and heiress of Hart Enterprises, the same company that had once hired Ethan's former employer to design smartwatches powered by artificial intelligence. The rain glistened on her sleek black hair, tied neatly in a bun, and her gray suit looked untouched by the storm. She hung up the call and looked down at her wrist. Her watch, a prototype her late father had designed, was dead. No light, no sound. For months, she had tried to repair it, but even her best engineers couldn't restore the AI voice embedded inside. It wasn't just any voice, it was her father's, recorded and coded before he passed away. It was all she had left of him. "Not again," she muttered, pressing the button repeatedly. From across the street, Ethan had been watching her, not with envy, but with quiet curiosity. Something about her expression, the way frustration hid grief behind control, reminded him of himself. He crossed the street slowly. "Excuse me, ma'am. If your watch isn't working, I might be able to help." Isabella turned toward him, her eyes flicking over his soaked jacket, the little girl clutching his leg. Her instinct screamed no. But there was something calm and sincere about the way he said it. "You fix luxury watches?" she asked skeptically. "I used to. Before things changed." Lily looked up at her and said proudly, "My daddy can fix anything." Something in the little girl's voice softened Isabella's guarded look. "Fine," she said, removing the watch. "But if you break it, it's worth more than your life." Ethan smiled faintly. "Fair enough." He sat on the boutique steps, opened a tiny toolkit he carried everywhere, and began to work. His hands moved with effortless precision, steady despite the cold. Isabella crossed her arms, watching. "So what happened to you?" she asked. He didn't look up. "Life," he said simply. "My wife got sick. I sold everything to try to save her. Didn't work. After that, I just fell through the cracks." Her eyes flickered, a trace of guilt surfacing. Her father used to tell her, "Success means nothing if you forget the people who hold up the world beneath you." 15 minutes later, Ethan closed the back of the watch and handed it to her. "Try it now." She pressed the button, and froze. A voice, warm and familiar, filled the air. "Bella," it said. Her breath caught. "Dad?" Don't rush, my little timekeeper, the voice continued. Sometimes, the clock stops so you'll remember what really matters. Tears blurred her vision. For almost a year, she hadn't heard that voice. Every technician at Hart Enterprises had failed to revive it. But this man, this stranger, had done it in minutes. How did you do that? She whispered. The voice-chip connection had fractured. Heat expansion caused the circuit to break contact. Simple fix, he replied modestly. She stared at the watch, then at him. The little girl tugged on his sleeve. Daddy, can we get pancakes now? That cracked Isabella's heart open a little. She reached into her purse and pulled out several $100 bills. I can't take that, Ethan said immediately. Then take it for her, she replied, nodding toward Lily. He hesitated, then accepted it quietly. Thank you, ma'am. Do you have somewhere to stay? She asked suddenly. The shelter closes soon. We'll manage. That's not managing, she said. After a pause, she added, come to Hart Enterprises tomorrow. Ask for me. I could use a man who can fix what others can't. He blinked. Are you serious? Very. Don't make me regret it. The next day, Ethan stood with Lily before the towering glass building that reached into the clouds. People in suits brushed past without a glance, but when he mentioned Isabella's name, the receptionist's attitude changed instantly. He was led to the 42nd floor, an expanse of labs and glass offices that gleamed like a world he no longer belonged to. Isabella met them there, wearing a navy suit and an expression softer than yesterday's. Good morning, Mr. Cole, she said. And hello, Lily. The little girl smiled shyly, holding her rabbit tighter. I meant what I said, Isabella continued. I want you to work here. We have prototypes no one can repair. You'll be paid weekly. There's a small apartment in the company housing. It's empty. Consider it part of the job. Ethan's mouth went dry. Miss Hart, thank you. You have no idea what this means. Lily ran forward and hugged Isabella's leg. Thank you, pretty lady. No one had hugged Isabella like that since her father died. She froze, then slowly patted the child's hair. You're welcome, sweetheart. In the following weeks, Ethan transformed the repair lab. He worked tirelessly, fixing models that had frustrated engineers for months. His improvements even impressed the board, though Isabella kept his story private. To her, he wasn't charity, he was a miracle. One evening, she stayed late, walking through the lab. She found Ethan asleep at his desk, Lily curled beside him, her little hand resting on his arm. The soft light made them look peaceful, untouched by the world's cruelty. Isabella quietly draped her jacket over them. For the first time in years, she smiled without thinking about work. But something began to change. Every time Isabella wore her father's watch, it responded differently. It wasn't supposed to evolve, it was coded with limited voice responses. Yet it began saying new things, specific to moments Ethan was around. Once, after Ethan left her office, she pressed the side button and heard her father's voice say, "He reminds me of myself when I met your mother. Don't let this one go, Bella." Her heart skipped. The voice data was not connected to any cloud service, it couldn't learn or update itself. And yet, it seemed alive. She confronted Ethan about it the next morning. "What did you do to my watch?" He looked confused. "Nothing." "Why?" "It keeps saying things it never said before. Things it can't possibly know." Ethan frowned, taking it gently from her wrist. He checked the circuits. Everything was perfect, better than before. "It's not me," he said. "Sometimes machines hold more memory than we design them to." But that night, when Isabella pressed the button again, the voice spoke words that made her blood run cold. "Bella," it said softly. The man who fixed me is part of your story too. Your father trusted him long before you knew his name. She froze. What are you talking about? The watch didn't respond. The next morning, she called Ethan into her office. I need to know something, she said. Did you ever work with Hart Enterprises before? He hesitated, eyes lowering. A long time ago. As a contractor. Your father hired me once to design a mechanical framework for the first AI prototype. Isabella's eyes widened. You're that Ethan Cole? The one my father called, the man with the golden hands? He nodded quietly. Your father was the only one who ever believed I could make a difference. Silence filled the room. For the first time, Isabella saw not a homeless man who got lucky, but a man who had lost everything because he gave everything. Tears welled in her eyes. He always said people mattered more than machines. I forgot that until I met you. Ethan smiled gently. He built something timeless. Not just a watch, his kindness. Lily's laughter echoed from the hallway, chasing away the heaviness between them. Isabella looked toward the sound, then back at Ethan. Let's make sure she never knows the kind of hunger you did, Isabella said. He nodded, gratitude shining through the weariness in his eyes. Outside the office window, the rain began again, soft, rhythmic, cleansing. Isabella pressed the button on her watch one last time. Proud of you, my little timekeeper, her father's voice said. You finally found someone who understands time the way I did. And for the first time since her father's death, Isabella smiled through her tears, not because of what she'd gained, but because of what she'd found. The quiet power of kindness, the strength of love, and the man who reminded her that even broken things could keep perfect time again.